All right, so it's Friday morning. You guys are probably still asleep because you don't have school, but it's pretty early, so I decided to come to you live from DJ Fish's spot. So this is DJ Fish in the morning. All right, we're talking LT4. Use statistics to compare center and spread of two different data sets. Um, these are kind of things that you've seen before, and so on your notes you've got a whole bunch of, it says measures of center. Take down these definitions real quick. These are definitely things you've seen before, like you know how to find the mean or the average. But just take down a real quick formal definition of each one of those. You can pause the video if you want for mean, median, and mode, as well as outliers. Outliers we've talked about with our scatter plots a little bit, but outliers are values that are just kind of don't fit. Like it says they're unusually far from the middle. They have a really strong influence when you're finding the mean, and they can greatly affect the mean. If you have one outlier that's just way out there, it's really going to change the mean, but does not have any effect on the median. So I guess if I'm looking to highlight part of this, I would say this is probably the most important thing for me. Has a strong influence on the mean, but not the median. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video and take down some definitions there. So you've got those definitions down. Here's an example of a data set for number of people who attended a movie theater over a period of 16 days. So on day 1, there were 14 people there. Day 2, there were 23, and so on. Find the measures of center. Okay, so we know how to find the mean. The mean, you just add up all of these values and divide by 16. So if you add all of that up and divide by 16, you can go ahead and do that really quick. But I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it because, like I said, you pretty much know how to do it. You end up getting a mean of 30.25. The median, probably the easiest way to find the median is just to put all of these numbers in order from smallest to largest, which I've done down here with these red numbers, and then just cross off one at a time until you get to the middle. And so the two we have left are 21 and 23. And so since we have an even number of values, I'm just going to find what's in the middle of 21 and 23, and that's 22. So I'm going to go with a median of 22. And then the mode is just the most common value. So what number do we see the most of? Okay, I think mode is the easiest one. And it looks like we have 3 21s. We don't have 3 of anything else. So our mode is 21. That's the kind of computation part. Part B is where I think it gets more interesting. The theater's management wants to compare its attendance to that of other theaters in the area. So it wants to know kind of which of these 3 measures of center would best represent their data. And so if we look at these values that we have here, it looks like there was a day where 80 people showed up, and then another day where 92 people showed up. Those numbers differ greatly from all of these others. Like, I don't know if it was like day 1 of like Harry Potter way back in the day or something, but like apparently these days were just huge at the movie theater. And so these two numbers are really, I would almost even consider them outliers, and they're greatly affecting the mean. And that's why you see this mean is so much higher than the median and the mode, is because of this 80 and this 92, that they're dragging this mean way higher than it probably should be. Now, if the theater is like trying to show off and be like, we're the most popular theater in town, then like maybe the mean would be a good thing for them. But if they're looking for like the most accurate or which one best represents the data, I would probably go with a median. Because it doesn't matter if this number is 92 or 1,092, your median is not going to change. Okay, you're still going to cross it off at the same time that you cross off 7. Okay, so that one has no effect on the median. And so the median is really not affected by outliers, and so that's why I would go with the median in this case. The mode, while it's close to the median, at the same time I could add a whole bunch of 21s to this, and it wouldn't necessarily change a whole lot about the median necessarily. Or I could add a whole bunch of 14s and I could change the mode but still have like a median of 22. So the mode can be a little bit deceiving sometimes, unless maybe you have like a gigantic sample size. Instead of 16 days, you did it over 16 years. Then maybe the mode would be a little bit more accurate. So if we look at the next example, this is going to talk about a 5-number summary, and parts of the 5-number summary are the median. That's one part of it. And then we'll talk about kind of these other parts here. So in that space where you've got space to put down the 5-number summary, we'll put down the 5 things. And so the 5 things that we need are min, max, median, and then what's called Q1 and Q3. And these are called the first quartile and the third quartile. Okay. If you order the numbers, like here's where we got our numbers from. And this is just out of your book actually, but it's points scored by Chicago Bulls players who played over 40 games. And so we see down here we've got Bill Wennington scored 167 points. Michael Jordan scored 2,357 points. They must have left me off of here because, like, I don't know where they got their data from. Like, I should be up here at like 10,000 probably. But whatever, everybody makes mistakes, so I'm not going to blame them for that. But I am a little bit offended. So if we're looking at a 5-number summary here, the first thing we need to do is order the values from least to greatest, and so that was the first thing that got done here. Once we do that, we can really easily find the minimum is 167, and we can really easily find that the maximum was 2,357. So that gives us 2 parts of our 5-number summary. The median, if we were to cross off values, just like we did in the last example, is here in the middle at 416. Q1 and Q3 are where things are probably new, where you probably haven't seen Q1 and Q3 before. But basically what you do is you split things at the median. Okay, so you take the top half of the data and you take the bottom half of the data and you find the median of each one. Okay? And so if we find the median of the lower half of the data, cross off, cross off, cross off, cross off. There's Q1, which is the median of the lower half of the data. So the Q1 is 288. Likewise, the Q3 finding the median of the upper half of the data. The Q3 is 841. Okay, so just to sort of review, step 1, order all the data from least to greatest. You can find the minimum and maximum really easily. You can find the median by just kind of crossing off until you get to the middle. And then the Q1 and the Q3 are the medians of the lower half and the upper half. There's also a thing called interquartile range, and that's just the difference between the first quartile and the third quartile. So for like that last example, we had 841 was Q3, and I'm going to find the difference. I'm going to subtract Q1, and Q1 was just 288. And so at that point, all you have to do is subtract them. 841 minus 288 is 553. Okay, so that's the interquartile range, or the IQR. All right. So we're going to find the 5-number summary of the movie theater data that we looked at earlier. And so I've already ordered them least to greatest. So go ahead, and if you need to pause and reorder it, go ahead and do that. But then I can see the minimum is 7. The maximum is 92. The median we already found was 22. And then to find Q1, we're going to take the lower half of the data, halfway between 14 and 20 is what, 17? So Q1 is 17. In the upper half of the data, looks like 33.5 for our Q3. The IQR, which again is just Q3 minus Q1, is what, 16.5? 33.5 minus 17 is 16.5. Okay, so there's the IQR. So our 5-number summary is right here. And our IQR we found from Q3 minus Q1. All right. Before class, here is a data set. We don't know what the variables are. Quite honestly, it doesn't matter. But go ahead and find the 5-number summary, as well as the mean, median, mode, and any possible outliers that you think could be in this data set. Okay? So take down the mean, median, mode, talk about any possible outliers, and do the 5-number summary as well as then the IQR.